Yeah, the snake is the lie. Yeah, the snake is a lie, but also, it represents like a white snake will represent, change
Oh, I didn't know
and
that.
and so, and something new. So I kind of liked how those played off of each other because it was a new project, a new vibe, a new era. But yeah, the snake definitely represents like the lie.
Hi, Luna. How are you?
Hey, good. How are you? Good to see you again.
I was gonna say, yeah, we've chatted a couple of years ago, or
Yeah.
been a while, almost
Yeah, it really has.
probably 3 years now, actually.
I know, isn't it crazy? Time flies.
I know you hadn't even released Honey yet. You're about to release Honey. Last time I talked to
No
you.
way, really?
Yeah, isn't that wild?
Wow. Wow, that is wild.
Yeah, so a lot is just going off of, you know, going and doing some more research on you since then. I mean, you've done quite a bit. I mean, you put out the EP, put out 2 EPs, I believe. And
Yes.
so I'm excited to catch up with you.
Yeah, you as well. Yeah, geez, I didn't even realize. I was like, yeah, no, I've done this podcast before, but I didn't realize it was before Honey came out. Now, I mean, Honey did really well.
Yeah, 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 no, 100%. um,
Nice. Maybe you're a
you're
good luck charm. Maybe I should
well,
just talk to you
yeah,
every single time before I
I'm
release
down. Don't threaten me. I'll have you on every time.
it.
Um, I was gonna say your hair is kind of making a sound on the mic.
Oh, it is. Okay,
It's
hold
going
on. Is that better?
way better. Yeah, that's the thing with the
Awesome.
though. Sometimes the mic is just gets rubbed. It'll rub on a shirt or a hair or something. It just kind of gets a little scratchy, but um, sounds good now.
Awesome. Good. Sorry about
Sweet.
that.
No, no, no. Don't apologize, please. Yeah. So this is about you and your journey in music, but we already kind of got that the first time. So I'd love to just kind of pick up with you and maybe recap a little bit on what we learned about you earlier. So you're from what, Phoenix area
Yeah,
originally?
originally, yeah. I'm from, well, just east of Phoenix, Gilbert Mesa area.
Okay, yeah, Gilbert. That's what it was, Gilbert.
Yeah, but I tell people Phoenix because they have no idea what I'm talking about.
Okay.
They're like, "Okay, what is
Uh,
that?"
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like,
I didn't
exactly.
ask you before. I mean, I know you said that you were singing early on and you started writing songs, I think around 10, 11 years old. And
Yes.
so you've been doing this for a very long time. But I'm curious, do you come from a musical household at all? Like, how did you kind of get involved?
No, not really. My parents are not musical in the slightest. I think my abuelito and my abuelita on my dad's side, they played a little bit of music.
Uh-huh.
He played guitar and she liked to sing, but it was more of like a hobby type of thing. Um, my parents are not musically gifted at all, but my dad is a homicide detective, was a homicide detective. He's retired now. And
Oh,
my mom
wow.
had 5 kids, so I mean, she was like a stay-at-home mom that also worked. She just worked like odd end jobs. But yeah, me and my siblings, well, my sister and my other little brother are both very creative. She's like a brilliant visual artist. She makes cartoons and
Oh, wow.
yeah, she's really awesome. My older brother's an amazing guitarist, and I don't know where it came from. It came from somewhere though.
Sure. Was he playing guitar? Was that kind of what got you into it? Just seeing your older brother play?
Well, we
Or not
both
even?
really, yeah, we both really loved music. I started singing when I was like 4 or 5, and he started playing guitar when I started playing guitar, but he was just so much better at it than me. Yeah, he used to do like the weird where he would like lay the guitar down on its back and then like hit it like a drum at the same time that he was playing it, and
Oh,
he would,
yeah.
yeah, he's really really good. He just does it as a hobby now. He's not really pursuing anything in music, but yeah, I mean, all my siblings are all pretty gifted. My one brother, Frankie, though, I have 4 siblings, by the way. I got a big
Yeah,
family.
5 of you. Wow, that is big.
Yeah, he's very analytical. He's going to school to be an accountant, so
Ah,
hopefully he can handle all of our money.
I was gonna say, yeah, now you got yourself an accountant for
I know,
the
damn. We're
yeah,
becoming
for the
like
artist
a nice
project.
little organized system here.
Yeah. Did your brother play in bands or anything, or like were you
He
involved
did,
with him at
yeah.
all?
Yeah, him and I used to play music together actually. When we first started, we started our own little like indie folk thing, and then he went on to like do his rock band. I did my rock band, and then I was the one that was like, I'm gonna really go for this, and he was like, I'm gonna go to school and be responsible. And I was like, yeah,
Sure.
one of us has to.
That's funny. Well, you got into Berkeley, right? But you didn't end up going?
Yeah, I got in, and I was like, cool,
Yeah.
I'm good enough. Sounds good.
Right. No, that
Yeah.
I remember that. That was awesome. You got into, you're like, okay, I'm good. Validated. I know I should be doing this,
Yeah, I
but I
mean,
don't
I
really
think it
feel
was
like
like,
leaving school with a couple $100,000 in debt.
oh, yeah, no. There's no way I was gonna do that. It just felt kind of silly to me to go to school for music when you could just like go do it. Um, but yeah, I got in. I mean, I think the acceptance rate was like 13% that year, and like 100 and something thousand kids auditioned. So when they told me I got in, I was like, all right, cool. That's the validation I needed. Now I'm gonna go to LA. See you later.
Yeah. Did you go to LA just to, kind of pursue music? Or, like, did you have anything stable there at all? Where it's like, all right, I just finished high school. Obviously, I'm talented at this enough to even get into Berkeley. So I'm just going to go to LA because that's where the scene, kind of is.
Yeah, I mean, I stayed in Arizona after high school for a little bit. I didn't go to college right away. I tried community college and I was like, this is just high school that you pay for. This is really dumb. So I
High school where
stopped.
people are smoking. That's
Yeah,
what I remember
exactly.
from
Where people
community
are
college.
old. Yeah, so I was like, this is not my thing. So I was just working a lot. I was working as a bartender and making music and playing shows in Arizona.
Mhm.
And I kind of got to a point to where I was hitting a ceiling in Arizona. Was like in all of the local publications. I was playing a bunch of shows. I was kind of like oversaturating the market a little bit. And so I felt like it was time for me to kind of graduate and like go to a bigger city and see what I could do there. But yeah, no, I didn't really have a whole lot of connections in LA when I first moved there. But I think the fact that I had already, conquered my hometown
Mhm.
was was like a nice it was like a nice stepping stone to be able to be
Sure.
like, yeah, I did all of this stuff and now I'm coming to LA. I'm not just like coming here just with no experience. So
Right. Yeah.
yeah.
I remember you played with, I mean, you opened for so many big bands last time I talked to you. I remember you were talking about that. Like,
Yes.
just anyone that was coming through, right? You got a chance to open for them because you were the thing. You were the person to play, right? I mean, you could
Oh
draw
yeah,
on
I
the
was I was
fans.
one of,
Yeah.
I was one of the people. Yeah, I got the call sometimes, but yeah, I at that point I had already played for a lot of people, and then moving to LA, I mean, it just everything just it was very it started moving very quickly.
Did you start a band or join a band when you got to LA, or focus on
No,
your
I had
solo
started
stuff?
Luna Aura while I was in Arizona, and so
Oh, you
that's kind
did.
of
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So that's kind of what I was hitting the ceiling with was with that project. But at that time, I was making pop music. It was like alternative pop music.
Hmm.
And yeah, I came to LA and I did the alternative pop thing. I was in the pop scene for a long time and was writing music for sync, for TV and film. And I was like, this kind of sucks because because the pop scene was just kind of gross. I didn't really like the way that it was. It was the values in pop music at the time that I was doing it. It was very like, Taylor Swift, Katy Perry, Lady Gaga. It was this like shiny, high budget type of pop. And the industry at that time was still very, I mean, it still is in a lot of ways, but it was pretty sexist and kind of gross. And it was like your looks were really important. You
Yeah.
know,
You'd
I don't
age
know.
out at like 22.
Exact 1000. Yeah, exactly. It was like, oh, you're 22, you're too old now. So,
Yeah, like,
um,
you missed your peak. You should have been here
exactly.
5 years ago.
You're not 12? Yeah, no, it's really
Yeah.
good. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really gross. Yeah,
100%.
so it was kind of it was a really toxic, I think, time to be in pop music. Pop music thankfully got a lot better, became more inclusive
Uh-huh.
and over time. And now it's just kind of, it's formed into a different version of pop now. I mean, which it always does that. I mean, it just stands for popular. So um I think like rap music, hip hop, that was starting to become king a little bit more.
Uh-huh.
I wasn't really into what I was doing or what I was writing. I just felt like I was doing what I thought I needed to do to get to the goalpost, which was like making it.
Uh-huh.
But I didn't even really know what making it was to myself. And I think that it's different for everyone else. And so I got kind of fed up and worn out, burnt out for sure. I was writing a lot. And I was like, I'm just going to start going back to my roots and like going back to the things that make me happy, like rock music. And the only reason why I wasn't doing it was because it was this big thing that rock music was dead. And like
Yeah,
it was like
it
a
definitely
dinosaur genre.
right, it
And
was. I mean, for a minute, right?
yeah,
I
I mean,
mean,
even when we talked, it was still pretty
pretty
like there was a
dead.
huge resurgence after our conversation, even,
100%, yeah,
and
because
it came back.
it didn't have. I mean, you started to kind of see that like pop punk emo thing
Hmm.
starting to kind of happen again, and then I felt like now it's just like it was like way in the forefront. I don't know. Now it's kind of feel like I don't know, maybe dwindling down a little bit, but not as much. But like it just came back out of nowhere. I was like, whoa, like
Yeah,
this scene is back. Like, and that's what I grew up on and loved, obviously. And it was like, wow, this is crazy to see this. It's crazy to see this festival in Vegas with all these bands that I saw played to like 15 people. Now they're, there's this huge 100,000 whatever festival happening with them all.
totally. Yeah, that happened in like 2020, right?
Yeah, it was like 2020, 2021. It started like Machine Gun Kelly kind of had that song with Youngblood, and then that was like the end of 2019 into 2020, and then it was like it started peaking or going up. I mean, TikTok had like Simple Plan, like dance challenges and all this crap, and it was just like so, it was like bizarre.
Oh, I know. So strange. TikTok, very strange. Yeah, it really had a resurgence. So it was like perfect timing for me. And I wasn't necessarily, I'm not necessarily pop punk. I wouldn't
No,
consider
but I
my
remember
genre pop
just
punk.
I was just like in general, just like guitars kind of came back for a
Exactly.
minute.
Exactly. No, exactly. Rock music started coming back. And so
Yeah.
it was good timing for me because, even my genre of rock, the kind of alternative
You have like
90s
yeah, like the
vibe.
especially the earlier stuff was like very like yeah, industrial, like not
Yeah,
industrial, but like that Nine Inch Nails,
totally.
Garbage kind of rad like grunge scene was you were kind of in that
Yeah.
lane a little bit.
Perfect timing. Nailed it.
Yeah.
No, I was really happy about that. I mean, now it's like allowing me way more opportunity. So I'm really thankful for that.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, now I'm just continuing to kind of refine my sound and keep developing and getting better and more honest, and yeah, I feel good.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm curious to hear like what kind of what's been going on because I think Crash Dive was out. That was the one song you had out. And
Hmm.
was Honey the next one or English Boys the next one? I think
I think
Honey came out.
Honey, yeah,
Yeah, it was
Honey.
you hadn't had that was the one song you had out and you were gonna release Honey, I think like the Friday after our conversation. And then I looked, I remember it blowing up and doing well, but you look now, it's like almost has 13 million plays. Like it's in like the streams on it are crazy. And
I
like,
know.
tell me, you were like, I asked you, I'm like, why? You said, oh, I have a bunch of songs. I'm just kind of holding, I have an EP, but it was kind of that obviously COVID and like all the stuff that was happening with, the civil rights and all that stuff was all, and you're like, I'm just don't really feel like releasing it yet. So you kind of waited, right?
Yes.
To put the music out.
Yeah, I waited. Yeah, when all of the George Floyd stuff was going on and there was, there's all that hustle and bustle that was happening in the US, it just
Mhm.
felt tone deaf to be putting out music. I felt like it was a time to really focus on like Black creators and people that, deserve to be heard at that point in time. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I took a little bit of a break. I had a schedule set in place, so I like just kind of I like halted my schedule for a little bit and
Yeah.
then waited a few months and then ended up releasing the rest of it, I think, like more towards the fall when it felt more appropriate.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, I mean, I'm happy I did that because it just elongated the life of the EP. It wasn't like I just put it all out and then everyone forgot about it. I was able
Right.
to really like stretch out the lifespan, and I think that was really helpful for me.
Mhm. And yeah, because I asked you like why you picked Honey as the next song you're gonna put out, and you're like, "Oh, I just love it. I think it's gonna be a great song." And then obviously everybody else thought the same thing.
Thank God, right?
Yeah. You called your shot. Like, so when you put it out, like how quickly did it start to see traction, or like where did you really see it blow up at? Was it like a TikTok thing, or like what kind of started it? Do you remember, or was it just
It
something that
was
people latched onto right away?
Yeah, it was like Spotify editorial playlists
Okay.
were picking it up a ton. So, I mean, I was on playlists that had millions of followers. So that was really helpful. And then also the song was really successful in the sync space. So it ended up being in, tons of TV shows. It was in Riverdale. It was
Oh yeah,
in
I did see that.
a bunch of Netflix series. It was in some HBO series, Showtime series. So it performed really, really well, and it was used a lot for like promos. So it wasn't
Hmm.
necessarily used specifically in just scenes. It was used a lot for when they were promoting new shows and new seasons, which I think gets a lot more visibility.
Oh yeah, if you get
Um,
like a trailer or something like that, I
exactly.
mean, it's something that people are watching thousands upon time, each. Just like
Yeah.
my kid, like when a movie trailer comes out for like a Marvel movie, I think he's watched the trailer like 75 times, and it's like, the song just keeps getting in your head, and you're like, oh, okay, so like I could see that being a massive plus.
Yeah, and then it was in Riverdale. It was in like a really pivotal scene where two of like the main characters that no one ever expected to be like hooking up, like hooked up, and it was this like shower sex
Oh.
scene, and it was like this big moment in the series, and so that got a lot of visibility as well. My music also, funny enough, is just like it's either in like a fight scene or a sex scene, but there's like no in between.
One or the other. But those are
Yeah.
usually the most viewed parts of the song or the shows, right?
Yeah, exactly. My
Oh,
my sync licensing team is always like, we got another steamy scene. I'm like, oh, did
you're like,
we?
you're like perfect.
Yeah, great. Sounds good. I'm all in.
Yeah. So yeah, so that song obviously does incredible, and you put out the EP. And were you able to do anything as far as like playing live shows, or was everything still like locked down at that point? Because we talked last time, there wasn't a vaccine or anything. It was just like
Oh my gosh, I
we're kind
know.
of just trying to figure out what the hell is going on.
Yeah, I think like it hadn't even really, I don't even think the pandemic was a thing when we talked. Was it?
It was,
It
yeah,
was, okay.
it was like 3
It
months
just
after it
started.
started. Yeah,
Got it.
like, I think we talked in June, maybe?
That's
Like,
right.
it's been probably 3 years, yeah, so it was, like, around June, and then you put out Honey, like, I think it was, like, coming up, like, a week or 2 weeks later, so it was, like, we had only been in the pandemic for, like, 3 months.
Yes. Okay. All right. Yes, I remember. I remember.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I forgot what we were talking about though. What were we? Yeah,
Oh, I was asking, like, yeah, I didn't know, no,
I had to
no.
know the timeline. It's my ADHD. I'm like, let me know all the details.
No, 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 100
Sorry.
no, so, yeah, I was wondering if, like, once you had a chance to release, the EP, the first EP, were you able to, like, support it as far as, like, touring or anything, or
Oh, that's right.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Takes me a second.
Same here,
Um,
all good.
no, not really. I
Okay.
didn't really, yeah, I think everything was like closed down that whole year,
Still,
right?
yeah.
The way
Yeah,
up
yeah,
until
yeah.
2021. So, but I did get to do when I released the EP in the fall, I did get to do like a live performance, like a virtual live thing, and I did it
Mhm.
at Spin Magazine.
Oh, wow.
Um, yeah, and we did it at this like really cool venue in Arizona, and it was actually like a lighting company, like a lighting and sound company that had their own warehouse, and so they just decided to set up all of their lighting and sound in this warehouse and do virtual shows from there, which was really, really smart. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, so and we got Spin Magazine to come and film it, and it aired live, and I think you can still see it on YouTube as well. But so I got to do that. That was really fun. And
Was
then
it
I did,
strange? Like, you were probably playing to no one, right? Were you playing to a screen?
yeah, so you're playing to like three screens of yourself. So that was strange. And then behind the screens, there's like a whole like board where there's like maybe like 6 or 7 people behind it. And then all the guys walking around with the cameras and the big like, the cameras coming in from like the little machine.
Yeah, yeah.
It was wild. It was the first time I'd ever done anything like that. I would imagine that's probably what it feels like to play for like a late night show or like SNL
Yeah,
minus
yeah.
all of the audience. But it was cool. It was fun. I liked it. Everyone was online. I could see all the comments as people were like commenting. So
Oh,
there's a
that's
screen.
cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was interesting. It wasn't I'm not I wasn't used to it. I don't think I'll ever get used to that. But hopefully I don't have to deal with that anymore. I can
I was
actually go
gonna
out and play
say,
shows. Yeah.
yeah, at least you got to experience it. It's one of those things where it's like, hopefully, fingers crossed, that we'll never come back to that again. And
Right.
in the
Yeah.
moment, you had a chance to kind of experience that whole
Yeah, I
different.
mean, it was nice. It was nice to know that you could adjust. I mean,
Right,
thank
right.
God for the internet and allowing us the ability to still be able to perform in some sort of capacity.
Hmm.
Um, not even if you're not really making money, it's still nice to like share your art and be able to promote it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And then you did Sweet Sensation. That was the next EP you put out.
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
that was just like a fun collaborative thing that I did. I had worked with like a bunch of my close friends. The visuals for that were like so off the wall and campy, and I was just having so much fun with that project, and it felt right to do something like that that felt like colorful and bright but kind of had these really serious undertones as far as like the content was concerned and like the lyrical content, because it
Hmm.
really was about a lot of it was just about like wanting to feel better after having like such a hard year. And like Smile is a song about like taking medication to feel good, to feel better again. And Sweet Sensation is I'm just looking for a sweet sensation, like looking for anything, drinking, drugs, like all of the above to just feel somewhat normal after such a bizarre year,
Hmm.
and tumultuous year. So it was fun to be able to take all of like those kind of negative feelings, and instead of being like, I'm gonna make this like really serious project about like how horrible everything was, I wanted to kind
Right.
of flip it on its head and do something that was like bright and colorful and felt happy. And I feel like we killed it. It's a really fun EP. I like it a lot.
Oh yeah, it's a great, great, great EP.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I really like it a lot. I was wondering because I know you wrote a lot of, or maybe all of the first EP, um, prior to the pandemic, right? Like that was all
Yes.
done. Yeah, you were
Mhm.
working with JT Daly, who was in Nashville.
Yes. Mhm.
Okay, and did you work like coming into that second one? Were you who did you end up working with? I know you said you had a home studio before. Like, was that something that you self-produced, or when it came to the songwriting on Sweet Sensation, what was that like?
No, I worked with my friend Jordan, who's in a band called The Ready Set.
Oh, okay, I know that
And
band.
yeah, so Jordan is a great producer. Also, Cameron Walker. They're kind of a duo. I know that the two of them are The Ready Set pretty much.
Hmm.
So I worked with Cameron Walker. I worked with Jordan, and they're just homies. Like I think Sweet Sensation was the first song we ever. Oh no, Smile was the first song we ever wrote together, and it just went so well, so we did it again and we wrote Sweet Sensation together. And then I did another song with my friend Ian, who is just like one of my very good friends. And then my best friend Andrew, he has a project called No Love for the Middle Child.
Oh, I've had
uh,
him on my podcast
oh
before.
nice, yeah. So
Yeah.
Andrew's like one of my best friends in the world,
Oh
so
yeah, he's so good. My wife like loves his music.
he's so good. I know
Yeah.
we were talking about possibly doing like an indie folk project together.
Oh, that'd be
We
rad. That
I
would be
mean,
really
wouldn't
rad.
it be so fun? We just talked about it like I think yesterday we just talked about it actually. I see him all the time, so I'm
I'm
like,
on
what day was it?
board.
Yeah, I was like, we should try it because we just him and I wrote a song for this new EP that I'm about to release, and it's called Blind, and it's really good. It's got this like cool third eye blind, which is funny because it's called Blind. Third
Yeah.
eye third eye blind sound. It's
I love Third Eye Blind.
I know, me
That
too.
band's so good.
It reminds me of that era and that specific album that, you know, made them who they are. And I was like, we were singing it together, you know, as we're writing it, and I was like, wow, we sound really good together. And so I just like talked to him yesterday. I'm like, what do you want to do? Some sort of like indie folkish type of thing. And he was like, I am so down. So I think we might start writing something together.
Wow, that would be exciting. I would love to have
Yeah,
both of you on when
that'd be
that comes
fun.
out.
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
super fun.
That-
But yeah, he produced Too Little Too Late.
okay.
Yeah, so it was just like a really, I didn't work with any specific producer like I did, like I worked with JT for Three Cheers.
Hmm.
Um, it was just more of like I just wanted to have fun, write something collaborative, feel like a sense of like togetherness and community with the second project. Yeah, and
And
that's
with
how
the
it came
third one,
about.
is it similar to the second project, or did you take a different lane when it came to
No,
writing the
I
song?
wanted to dive a little bit more into doing what I did with the first one and get a little bit more conceptual with it. And this next EP that I'm releasing is called The Fiction, and it's kind
Mhm.
of, I guess, like the theme of it is fallacy and lies and sort of lies that we tell ourselves and each other. Um and I released obviously Money Bag already
Mhm.
and Lost in the Fiction.
Yeah, Lost in the Fiction, I think you just put out, right?
Yeah, I just put that out. I love those songs, but I worked specifically with Simon Oscroft for this EP.
Okay.
I
And did you
did
do that in LA?
yeah, so Simon is great. He is based like he lives right down the street from me, so he's based here in LA and he is from New Zealand. And he just like, I feel like a lot of producers that live outside of the US, when they live in like Europe or they live in Australia, New Zealand, they tend to have that sound that I'm going for just kind of in their DNA.
Hmm.
Because like American rock music versus European rock music is a very different thing.
Yeah.
And I'm really going for that kind of cool European sound, like Blur, The Hives. That's sort of like more of what I'm tackling for this EP.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm just sort of refining my sound and like what that is. And so I'm leaning more on that kind of like cool 90s vibe
All
for this
right.
one. But Simon is, I mean, he was like born to make this kind of music. So it was really easy. I mean, we wrote the whole thing in like 5 days, and
Wow.
yeah, I'm stoked. I can't wait.
Is there like a, you said it's another, like, has a concept to it. Is it like a concept EP? Like, is there like a through line for the whole thing, or?
Yeah, so every song like touches on, you know, like I said, like fallacy, you know, lies we tell
Yeah.
ourselves, lies we tell
But
other
it's not like
people.
a it's not like a story, I guess is my question.
No, kind of. I guess it depends on how you look at it. It could
Oh,
be a
okay.
story. It's not like a chronological story that has like a narrative by any means, but
Okay.
like it definitely tells like a larger story when it's all put together. But the visuals are also like very, I did like the whole monochromatic white
Oh,
thing.
rad. Yeah.
Everything's like very clean, it's very cohesive. In a lot of ways, like how my first EP was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the imagery thus far is cool. Yeah, it's just like an
Thanks.
object in white. And like, is like, does that all kind of relate to what the whole project is about?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
So
Yes.
like, do you have a telephone? I'm trying to look at the,
Yeah, Lost in the Fiction as the
it's like a telephone
telephone
with a
because
snake on it.
yeah, and there's a line in Lost in the Fiction, basically being like what are you gonna do when nobody answers the call? So I had a telephone, and then in Money Bag there was a Bible that had like a cutout in it that had money in it.
Yeah, like 100 in it. The snake is still
Yeah,
there though.
and I sort of wrote that about people that I've, you know, had experiences with and that I've worked with in the music industry that, you know, portray themselves as these like, you know, morally superior, like really good people, but the truth is that they're really just greedy
Mhm.
and, you know, full of it. So that's
So
what that one is about.
okay. And is the snake like kind of the like the darkness, like the lie or whatever that's kind of coming through it.
Yeah, the snake is the lie. Yeah, the snake is a lie, but also, it represents like a white snake will represent, change
Oh, I didn't know that.
and something new. So I kind of liked how those played off of each other because it was a new project, a new vibe, a new era. But yeah, the snake definitely represents like the lie.
That's cool. Yeah, they're great photos. I'm
Thank you so
curious to see.
much.
Are you doing more singles before the EP comes out, or how are you gonna do it?
I'm doing almost every single song as a single before the EP comes out, which is like what I did with the first EP too.
Yeah.
I just want to give them all a chance to kind of have their moment before releasing a project because I found nowadays in the digital age, um, people have a really short attention span and they don't dig as deeply into things as they used to. So when you release an album, for example, there's maybe only like one or two songs that really perform well, and the rest of them, like, no one even listens to because they're just like, well, why would I listen to this when I have the song I already like, Because we're in
Right.
that sort of like playlist era where, even if someone likes one of my songs, maybe that's the only song that they ever listen to by me and they don't listen to any more. But I mean, obviously, people listen to all of my music as well.
Right. Right.
But we are in that era of music where it's like I like this song by this artist and that song by that artist, and and we're in like the playlist world. So keeping that in mind, I want to give every single one of my songs a chance to be able to kind of stand on its own and not be forgotten.
I think that's a great idea. Yeah. Right now, it's like if you throw a whole EP or a whole album out, it's like, yeah, there's people's attention spans like, oh, no, I'll go back and listen to the rest of that, and it's like then five other things come out, and you're like, oh,
Absolutely,
you
yeah.
already forget. You know what I mean?
I mean, unless you're already an established artist as well, like if you've got, a great following,
Yeah, if you're Taylor
you're
Swift, you can put an album out, right?
exactly Beyonce, you could
Yeah,
like poop on a plate and everyone would be like, it's amazing. I
yeah,
love every
gold
part of it.
record.
Yeah, exactly. 1000%. But when you're kind of at my level and you're still sort of building, I think it's smart to make sure you're focusing on each track having its own life and its own world.
Mhm. I think, yeah, 100%. You got some awesome shows coming up. You're doing couple big festivals, and then obviously the
Yeah.
Corey Taylor tour, which is going to take up, starting September, I think it kicks
Yeah,
off.
mid September it kicks off. It starts in Connecticut, I believe.
That must be exciting.
I'm so excited. I mean, I was really excited about hearing about the festivals, and I heard that I got both of them simultaneously because it's the same owner, the same team that puts on the festivals. So yeah, Aftershock and Louder Than Life, and I mean, I got the heads up on like who's playing, and I was so excited to hear about that. And then shortly after that, I got the Corey Taylor tour. My management called me and they're like, yeah, so Corey Taylor wants to bring you on the road. And I was like, who's that? Because to me, I was like, in my head, I was thinking this poor guy who called his project Corey Taylor, not knowing that there is a Corey Taylor of Slipknot. Like, what an idiot.
Yeah,
Like, in the back of my
yeah.
mind, I was just like, this guy is so dumb. And my manager was like, Slipknot? Corey Taylor? Like, it was just like I couldn't even fathom that
Oh yeah,
that
that he
was
would
the
just because you would think of, like Stone Sour or Slipknot.
yeah, there's no in my brain I was just like there's no way it's like the Corey Taylor,
Right,
like
right.
so I asked my manager. I was like, wait, who's Corey Taylor? Like what are you talking about? And he's like, Slipknot, Corey Taylor. I was like, really? Wait, are you sure? Like
Yeah,
I
are
was
you
like
sure
blown
this is
away
the
by it.
right Corey Taylor?
Yeah, because I mean Slipknot is iconic.
Oh yeah.
It's legendary. I mean Corey Taylor himself is legendary. So um it took me a minute to even like believe that it was real. And then once they said the word Slipknot, I was like, holy shit.
You're like, it is real.
Whoa, okay, cool. Of course I'm gonna do it. Especially because, they told me that Wargasm was opening and I'm a huge fan of Wargasm, so I'm also very, very excited to be on the road with them.
That'll be awesome. And you're probably playing with theaters, I would guess, at least.
Yeah,
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 that's gonna be
definitely.
big.
I mean, they're gonna be big rooms. Yeah, I'm really excited. I can't wait.
That's awesome. I know the Louder Than Life. I've moved to Nashville since the last time we talked.
Oh,
And
I'm moving to Nashville.
are you really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Congratulations. You're
Thank you.
making a good move. I'm from San Diego, and this is the best thing I've ever done. I mean,
Everyone
best
keeps
decision I've ever
telling me
made.
that. Yeah, I've had
Oh,
Cameron Walker, the guy that I was telling you about from the Ready set. He moved and he is so happy and he feels like he's getting way more work. He's like just it's way more peaceful. He's not
uh-huh.
dealing with all the kind of like minutia that you deal with in Los Angeles and in the Los Angeles music scene. So I'm really excited to get there and start feeling like at peace and
Oh,
like home.
it's that's exactly it. Like we came here and I'm just like, wow. Everyone like you'll be driving and people are like your neighbors will just wave to you. Like,
Yeah,
what the
people are
hell's going
so
on?
nice. They're so like people are so nice, which I'm already kind of naturally like that. Like I always say hi to people. It's like it's this funny thing that I do when I walk around with my friends, like on a Sunday or whatever. And every single time we walk past someone, I always say hello or good morning or good
Oh yeah.
afternoon. And I started doing it because I noticed how uncomfortable it was making people. And so then it just became funny. But when you actually do it out there, people reciprocate and they don't like
Yeah,
look at
that's
you
like
like, why are you talking
most
to
people.
me?
Yeah, most here people just do it, right? I mean, that was the one thing I noticed, like just driving and somebody would wave, and I'm like, huh. And
I
then
know. Isn't
were
it
they waving
crazy?
at me? And then like the five, then I noticed it like more and more. I'm like, oh, they are. Like this is crazy.
You're like, what? You're like looking around like, what?
Yeah. And
It's me,
yeah,
me?
the yeah, quality of life here for me and my family has just been the best decision we've ever made. I mean,
That's so awesome. Congratulations. That's
thank
great.
you. Yeah, I hope you'll be happy here, but I would be shocked if you weren't.
I mean, I've been in LA for 10 years and I'm at that point already where all I do is complain about it. So I think it's time to go.
Yeah.
Um,
No
yeah,
state tax. I mean, it's beautiful here.
oh gosh, yeah, no income tax is so nice. It's also
Yeah.
so much cheaper to live there.
Uh-huh.
But it feels to me the way that LA felt 10 years ago. Like it has that sort of energy to it.
Hmm.
And I think LA, ever since the pandemic, has just completely lost that.
Oh
It's
yeah.
like somehow getting shittier and more expensive at the same time.
Right.
I don't know how that's possible, but yeah, that's what's happening. I'm
Uh-huh.
also kind of, like I love all my friends here and I think the music scene out here is great. There's so many talented people, but I think it's also at the same time is a very toxic place to be an artist because it's the values that people have, it feels more like people are interested in being famous and being like followed and
Hmm.
having like a bunch of followers and not necessarily the music. And I think that the music suffers because of it. So I'm excited to go to a place like Nashville where like everything is about the song,
Yes.
it's about making the best song possible and it's not about all the kind of like the smoke and the mirrors around it where LA kind of does enough of that for the two of them.
Right, right. It's interesting because you will like see, like where I live, Jason Aldean will like shop at the Target and goes to the gas
Where do
station.
you live?
I'll
What
tell you
part of what
after.
oh you don't want to oh got it. Are you in Nashville proper? Or are you just on the
No,
outside?
no, I'm south of Nashville.
Okay, that's where I'll be as well.
Okay, well, when we're done recording, I'll tell
Yeah.
you. But like, yeah,
Cool.
like people won't like you don't see like this like big stature celebrity people that have the followers and the songs. They People don't really go up and bug them, be like, oh hey, can I get a picture? Like it's just not. I don't
It's
notice it at all. It's
yeah, there's
interesting,
no like clout chasing.
right?
Yeah.
Not at all. Like,
I
and
think
there'll
like
be
maybe in the
people.
smaller circles of like the musicians themselves that are kind of trying to like do something, there might be a little bit, but I can't see it being as bad as the Los Angeles music scene.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of big artists, and I've yet to see somebody like really go up and bug them about like a picture
It's
or
cool. Yeah,
yeah,
it's more
like
like
Jelly.
family
I've seen like
oriented.
Jelly Roll, and like
I love Jelly Roll.
no
It's
one will be like,
fun.
hey, dude, maybe he gets. I'm sure he does. Obviously, people know who he is, but it's not. I don't. It's just a little different than LA, I think.
Yeah, I think if you're like in, on Broadway probably, but like, where all the tourists hang out, but I think
Yeah.
if you're outside of Nashville a little bit, it's definitely like way more chill.
It's a bit different for sure.
Yeah,
But
totally.
yeah, we'll chat about the yeah, I'm curious of where you're gonna be here. And you have the EP coming out and this tour, and it's awesome to see all that you've done in just a couple of years since we chatted last.
Yeah, thanks. Like I said, you're like my good luck charm.
Hopefully we'll do it again on this next EP with this interview. But I have one more question for you. I asked it to
Hmm.
you last time, but I'm gonna do it again. I want to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists.
Advice. Interesting. I wonder if this will be the same as my advice that I gave last time.
I don't remember what you
Um,
said last time.
I don't remember either. Well, hopefully it's not the same. If it
If it
is,
is, that's then you know it's good advice.
yeah, exactly. For aspiring artists, I would say don't compare yourself to other people. Um, Live your life and live your career as an artist like it belongs to you and nobody else. And look inward when you're trying to figure out which way to go.
Bringing it backwards.